Stop scrolling for a moment, because what I'm about to share is one of the most painful and unbelievable situations the Harris family has ever faced. This isn't gossip, and it isn't some exaggerated headline made to get attention. It's a real moment that shakes a father to his core. A moment that would break even the strongest families and leave people everywhere wondering how everything fell apart so quickly. T.I. has always been known as someone who keeps his emotions in check, especially in public. But when he heard what happened to his son King, the way it happened, the violence behind it, and the warning that came with it, he couldn't stay strong. Even he collapsed under the weight of it all. And once you understand the entire situation, you'll feel that same heaviness too. Everything unfolded late last night, long after most people had gone to bed. The prison suddenly went into full lockdown. Officers were running through the corridors. Alarms echoed through the building, and radios crackled non-stop. Something serious had happened. Something brutal, something planned, and something aimed at one particular person. Right in the middle of the chaos, King Harris was found slumped in a corner of the common area. He was barely conscious, fighting for every breath he could pull in. A few inmates were standing nearby, but as soon as the lights came on and the guards rushed in, those men disappeared in every direction. At first glance, it looked like another prison fight, something many people might ignore. But those who truly understood what was going on knew better. This wasn't some disagreement that turned physical. This was deliberate. A targeted hit. A message meant to reach far beyond the prison walls. When the warden called T.I., everything inside the house went still. Tiny later said she heard her husband whisper, "No, please, not again," before the phone slipped from his hand and hit the floor. For a long moment, he didn't move. It was the kind of news no parent should ever hear once, let alone twice. He had already spent months pleading for his son's protection. He had already tried to warn King, to guide him, to convince him that the street image he was chasing wasn't worth his life. He had begged the system to relocate him, shield him, or at least keep him away from the same people who hurt him before. But this time was different. This time was worse. Hours later, one of the guards shared that King had received a chilling warning earlier that day. "Tonight, someone's coming for you, and they won't miss." King brushed it off as usual. He always tried to act fearless, like nothing could touch him, like he was built for the lifestyle he portrayed. But when the lights went off and he heard footsteps moving toward him, he realized far too late that the threat was real. By the time the guards reached him, his condition was critical. They rushed him to the infirmary, trying to stop the bleeding while shouting his name to keep him awake. Through the pain, King kept repeating one thing through gritted teeth. "Tell my pops I didn't fold. Tell him I stood on my business." Even in that moment, he cared more about appearing brave than admitting he was terrified. But when your body is breaking down and your life is slipping away, pride doesn't mean much. Back at home, Tiny was frantically calling everyone. Family members, lawyers, prison administrators, anyone who might help. She went from crying to shouting to begging, unable to sit still. Her daughter tried to comfort her, but Tiny was too overwhelmed to be held. And T.I., he didn't say a word for a long time. He sat on the couch with his elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like the world had collapsed beneath him. Eventually, he stood up, grabbed his jacket, and headed for the door. Tiny asked where he was going, but he didn't respond right away. When he finally looked at her, his eyes were swollen with tears. "I'm going to get my son," he said softly. His voice cracked, not from anger, but from fear. A deep, raw fear that tears a man apart. "There is nothing weak about wanting to go home. Do you hear me?" T.I. whispered, his voice rough with emotion. "There is nothing soft about wanting your mother to stop crying over you. You have people who love you. You don't need to prove anything to anyone." Before King could reply, a nurse stepped inside and delivered the truth T.I. feared most. This situation was not going to end on its own. The attack wasn't random. Rumors had already spread through the prison that King had been marked. Someone on the inside wanted him gone, and they were serious about it. If he stayed in that building, it was only a matter of time before another attempt was made. That was the moment something inside T.I. broke. He marched straight to the warden's office and slammed the door with so much force the frame shook. He demanded that King be moved immediately, put in isolation, sent to another building, transferred to another facility, anywhere but the place where people were plotting against him. The warden tried to explain the paperwork, the system, the rules, but T.I. wasn't in the mood for excuses. "You're going to bury my son," he shouted. "And then tell me you did everything you could. I'm not letting that happen. Not again. You either move him now, or I call every camera, every lawyer, every official I know. And trust me, I know a lot." The warden eventually agreed to review an emergency transfer, but that wasn't nearly enough for a father watching his child cling to life. T.I. wanted answers. He wanted to know who ordered the hit, who planned it, who hated his son enough to risk everything. But the warden stayed quiet. Either he truly didn't know, or he was afraid to reveal too much. While all this was happening, the situation outside the prison was turning into a storm of its own. Supporters had begun gathering near the entrance, chanting for King's protection. Some held signs saying, "Protect our youth," and others wrote, "King deserves safety." Online social media exploded with theories. Some blamed King's past behavior, the loud live streams, the arguments, the tough persona. Others believed this went far deeper. Maybe someone had a grudge against T.I. Maybe this was retaliation. Maybe the target wasn't King, it was the entire Harris family. Inside the infirmary, Tiny finally reached her son. The moment she saw him, her knees nearly gave out. She rushed to him, held his face gently, and kissed his forehead. "Baby, please wake up," she whispered through tears. "Please don't leave me." King squeezed her hand with what little strength he had left. Tears slipped from the corner of his eyes. "Mama, I didn't think it would ever get this bad." Tiny tried to steady herself. "It shouldn't have," she said softly. "But it did. And we're going to fix this. I swear we will." The night dragged on painfully. Doctors continued running tests. Guards posted themselves outside the door. T.I. walked the hallway in circles, calling anyone who might help. Lawyers, senators, activists, anyone with influence. But each call ended the same way. "We're working on it, Tip. But these things take time." Time was the exact thing he didn't have. Because while King lay there fighting to stay alive, another message appeared. A small piece of folded paper slid under the infirmary door. A guard picked it up and looked terrified as soon as he opened it. Even though he didn't want to hand it to T.I., he had no choice. Inside, written in rushed, uneven handwriting, were 6 chilling words. "Next time we won't miss." T.I.'s entire body went cold. Tiny broke down again. Even the guards exchanged worried looks. Someone clearly intended to finish what they started. T.I. dragged a chair beside King's bed, sat down, and spoke with a fire that came from deep inside him. "I don't care who you are," he said slowly. "I don't care what you think my son did. I don't care what message you're trying to send. If you come for him again, you'll have to get through me first. And I promise you, I'm not someone you want to face." Hours later, King opened his eyes again. His voice was weak, but his fear was clear. "Daddy, get me out of here. Please." It was the first time he admitted he was scared. The tough kid who once acted untouchable suddenly sounded like a child, terrified and begging for protection. That moment shattered T.I. He stood, wiped his face, and walked straight to the warden with a cold, steady voice. "Move my son tonight." This time they listened. King was placed into a highly guarded transfer program. But even that didn't guarantee absolute safety. Word travels fast in prison, and the danger was far from over. Later, a leaked message revealed T.I. blaming himself, saying he should have pulled King closer long before things reached this point. The entire family is shaken. The prison is now under investigation. The attackers remain unknown. King is alive, but far from safe. And T.I. is preparing for a fight he refuses to lose.